Here's your voiceover text for StorySphere, formatted for delivery with punctuation for natural pauses, emphasis, and clarity. I've added engaging hooks at the start and mid-story to grab and hold the audience's attention as requested. The channel name, StorySphere, is inserted where appropriate, and unnecessary spaces have been removed. The text remains unchanged except for the addition of hooks and formatting for voiceover flow. Intro music fades in. Hook 1. Can you imagine a moment so powerful it stops a room full of hardened bikers dead in their tracks? When 11-year-old Justin walked into the Hells Angels clubhouse, the room went silent. His black eye told one story, but his words hit harder. Can you be my dad for one day? What happened next would change not just his life, but an entire community. This is a story about the family we choose and the unexpected heroes who answer the call. The heavy door of the Hells Angels clubhouse swung open on a Tuesday afternoon, letting in a shaft of golden sunlight and something nobody expected. A kid. Justin stood in the doorway, backpack hanging off one shoulder, his sneakers scuffed and too small. The conversations died mid-sentence. Pool cues froze. Someone turned down the radio. 12 bikers stared at the 11-year-old who just walked into their world, uninvited. Robert, the chapter president, set down his coffee. His eyes, sharp despite the gray in his beard, locked onto the boy's face. That's when he saw it. The purple bruise blooming around Justin's left eye, fresh enough that the edges still carried hints of red. You lost, kid, Ben called from the corner, his tone more curious than aggressive. Justin's throat bobbed. His hands twisted the straps of his backpack. And for a second, Robert thought he might bolt. But then the boy straightened his shoulders, lifted his chin, and said the words that would crack open something in every man in that room. Can you be my dad for one day? The silence that followed carried weight. Every bad childhood these men had survived pressed into the room. Robert's eyes found Tommy first, foster care kid who'd aged out alone. Then Diego, whose father vanished before he could walk. Ben's hand unconsciously touched his ribs, where his old man's belt had left permanent marks. Asterisk hook 2. What would you do if a kid walked into your world and asked for help no one else could give? Stay with us on StorySphere, because this story's about to take a turn you won't believe. Asterisk career day, Justin continued, voice steadier now. At school next Friday. Everyone's bringing their parents to talk about their jobs. He paused, swallowed hard. I don't have anyone to bring. Robert stood slowly, his leather vest creaking. What about your folks? My real dad died in Afghanistan. 4 years ago. Justin's voice didn't waver, but his eyes went distant. And my mom's boyfriend. He stopped, fingers unconsciously touching the bruise. He's not really the career day type. Diego moved closer, crouching to Justin's eye level. That shiner. How'd you get it? Fell off my bike. Try again. Justin's facade crumbled. Dale. That's my mom's boyfriend. He gets mad when she's at work. She does double shifts at the hospital, so she's gone a lot. Yesterday, I forgot to take out the trash. His voice dropped to barely a whisper. He said I was useless, just like my dead dad. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Ben's jaw clenched. Tommy's knuckles went white around his beer bottle. Robert felt something ignite in his chest, something protective and ancient. And school? Robert asked gently. How's that going? Justin laughed, but there was no humor in it. There's this kid, Nicholas. He and his friends corner me every day. They call me orphan boy, push me into lockers, steal my lunch. He looked down at his shoes. Last week, they threw my dad's dog tags in the trash. I had to dig through garbage to find them. Robert remembered his own school days. The hunger, the shame, the way loneliness could feel like drowning on dry land. He'd sworn when he patched into this club that he'd never let another kid feel that powerless, not if he could help it. Why us? Tommy asked. Why the Hells Angels? Because you're not afraid of anyone. Justin's eyes were bright now, urgent. Nicholas's dad is some big lawyer. Nobody stands up to them. But you guys, he gestured around the room. Everyone respects you. Everyone's a little scared of you. I thought, maybe if you came, just for one day, they'd leave me alone. I'd have someone in my corner. That last sentence hit Robert like a punch. The bikers looked at each other. No words were spoken, but entire conversations happened in those glances. They'd all been Justin once, scared, alone, desperate for someone to see them. Robert made his decision. Friday, you said? Justin nodded, hope flickering across his face like sunrise. What time? 9:30, room 204. Robert turned to his brothers. Who's got Friday morning free? Every single hand went up. All right then. Robert looked back at Justin, and for the first time in what looked like years, the kid smiled. We'll be there. All of us. Justin's eyes went wide. Really? Really? But Justin, Robert's voice went serious. This thing with Dale. Does your mom know? The smile faded. She's so tired all the time. She's working so hard to keep us afloat after Dad died. I don't want to make things harder. Protecting your mom by taking hits isn't noble, kid. It's just more pain. I don't know what else to do. Robert knelt down, putting them eye to eye. You just did it. You asked for help. That takes more guts than most men ever show. He placed a hand on Justin's shoulder. We're going to handle this. Career day is just the beginning. As Justin left, backpack lighter somehow, the clubhouse erupted in quiet conversation. They had 4 days to plan, 4 days to make sure one scared kid learned what it felt like to have 32 fathers show up when it mattered. Robert watched through the window as Justin walked away and noticed something. The boy's steps were different, stronger. His steps carried a weight they hadn't before, not burden, but purpose. Friday morning arrived with gray clouds that threatened rain. Justin woke at 5 a.m., too anxious to sleep. He'd replayed Robert's promise 1,000 times in his mind, terrified it had been just words. Adults made promises. Adults broke them. That's what he'd learned. He dressed carefully in his only button-up shirt, the one his mom had bought for his dad's funeral. His fingers trembled as he buttoned it. In the kitchen, his mother kissed his forehead, noticing he'd barely touched his cereal. Big day, sweetheart. Yeah, career day. She hesitated. Justin, I'm sorry I couldn't take off work. The hospital is so short-staffed. It's okay, Mom. I figured something out. She studied his face, seeing something different there, something that looked almost like confidence. You sure you're all right? I'm sure. At school, Nicholas was waiting by the lockers with his usual crew, Brett and Chase, both bigger than Justin, both cruel in that casual way privileged kids could afford to be. Look who showed up, Nicholas sneered. Ready for your big presentation, orphan boy? Oh wait, you don't have anyone coming, do you? Justin kept walking, head down. My dad's bringing his Mercedes. What's yours bringing? All right, Nicholas laughed. A coffin. Brett shoved Justin into the lockers. His shoulder screamed in pain, but he didn't react. He just kept walking toward room 204, counting his steps, breathing through his nose the way his real dad taught him when the world felt too big. By 9:15, the classroom was filling with parents. Nicholas's father arrived in a three-piece suit, shaking hands like he was running for office. Brett's mom, a doctor, brought a stethoscope. Chase's dad, a pilot, wore his uniform with crisp authority. Justin sat in the back row, watching the clock. The minutes crawled. Each tick tightened the knot in his chest. They weren't coming. Of course, they weren't. Why would they? Then, just past 9:30, the rumble started. It was distant at first, like thunder rolling in from miles away. But it grew and grew until the windows rattled and conversation stopped. Everyone, students, teachers, parents, rushed to look outside. 32 motorcycles rolled into the school parking lot in perfect formation. Chrome gleamed, even under the gray sky. Engines roared in synchronized harmony. The Hell's Angels had arrived. Justin's heart nearly exploded. They came. They actually came. Robert led the procession, his bike the loudest, his presence commanding. They parked in a perfect V formation, killed their engines simultaneously, and dismounted like a military unit. Every jacket bore the winged death's head. Every face carried the weathered look of men who'd survived their own wars. Mrs. Peterson, the teacher, stood frozen at her desk as the bikers filed into her classroom. They were too big for the space, too raw, too real. Nicholas's father stepped back. Justin Miller, Robert's voice filled the room. Justin stood, legs shaking. Here. We're here for you, kid. The classroom exploded in whispers. Nicholas's smirk had vanished. His father looked like he'd swallowed glass. Robert addressed the class with the calm authority of someone used to leading. Morning, everyone. We're the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. Justin asked us to talk about what we do. So let's get into it. He started with the basics: how motorcycles work, the engineering behind them, the physics of balance and torque. Ben stepped forward and talked about their community programs: toy drives for children's hospitals, fundraisers for veterans, escort services for abuse survivors going to court. Most people see the patches and make assumptions, Ben said. They think we're criminals. Brotherhood means being there when it counts, especially when it's hard. Then Miguel moved to the front. He was quieter than the others, his eyes carrying old wounds. I grew up in a house where love looked like a fist, he began. The room went silent. My father drank. He raged. He made me believe I was nothing. By 13, I was heading down the same path, fighting, stealing, hating everyone, including myself. Justin watched his classmates lean forward. Even Nicholas was listening. Then I met Robert. He gave me a choice: keep destroying myself, or build something better. This club, this family, taught me that real strength isn't about violence. It's about protecting people who can't protect themselves. It's about breaking cycles instead of continuing them. Mrs. Peterson was crying quietly at her desk. Diego pulled out a photo. This is Tommy at 15, living on the streets. This is Ben after 3 tours in Iraq with nobody waiting at home. This is Robert the day his daughter said she was proud of him. He looked directly at Justin. We're not perfect. We've all got scars, but we choose every day to be better than what broke us. Robert turned to Justin. You asked us to be your dad for one day. But here's the thing, kid. Real family doesn't work on schedules. You're stuck with us now. The entire class erupted in applause. Brett was clapping. Chase looked stunned. Nicholas sat frozen, something complicated working across his face. After the presentation, as parents filed out, Nicholas's father approached Robert with a forced smile. Quite the performance. Robert met his eyes steadily. Your boy gives Justin trouble? That stops today. The lawyer's smile died. Are you threatening? I'm promising. There's a difference. Outside, as the bikers prepared to leave, Justin couldn't find words big enough for what he felt. Robert just squeezed his shoulder. See you tomorrow, kid. We're teaching you to change oil. As 32 engines roared back to life, Justin stood in the parking lot and watched his family ride away. Something shifted in his chest. A door opening he didn't know had been locked. The weekend passed in a blur of normalcy that felt almost surreal. Justin spent Saturday at the clubhouse, learning basic motorcycle maintenance. His hands black with grease, his smile impossible to wipe away. Robert taught him how to check oil levels. Diego showed him the difference between a wrench and a socket. For 2 days, the weight he'd carried since his father died felt lighter. But Monday brought reality crashing back. Dale had seen the video. Some parent had posted it on Facebook. Asterisk local bikers steal the show at Career Day asterisk, and it had spread through the community like wildfire. By the time Dale stumbled home Monday evening, 3 beers deep and smoldering with humiliation, he'd watched it 17 times. Justin heard the truck before he saw it, that particular engine growl that made his stomach clench. He was at the kitchen table, doing homework, when Dale kicked the door open. You think you're special now? Dale's words slurred at the edges. Got your little biker friends? Justin's mother wouldn't be home for another 2 hours. He calculated escape routes. Front door blocked. Back door, through the kitchen. His phone was upstairs. I asked you a question. Dale moved closer, and Justin could smell the beer, the rage, the familiar scent of violence about to break loose. I just needed someone for Career Day. You made me look like garbage. Everyone at the bar was talking about it. Poor Justin. No father figure. Dale's hand shot out and grabbed Justin's shirt, lifting him slightly. You got a father figure right here. You're not my father. The words escaped before Justin could stop them. Dale's face went purple. His fist drew back. Justin closed his eyes, body tensing for impact. The blow never landed. The front door opened, not kicked, not forced, just opened with a key that hadn't existed an hour ago. Robert walked in first, followed by Ben and Diego. 3 more bikers flanked the entrance. They moved with unhurried purpose, filling the small house with their presence. Dale's fist remained frozen midair. What the? Get out of my house. Not your house, Robert said calmly, pulling out his phone. Lease isn't Jennifer Miller's name. You're just living here. He tapped the screen. Jennifer gave us a key this afternoon. She's known for a while something was wrong. Just didn't know how to handle it. Dale dropped Justin and lunged toward Robert. Ben stepped between them with the easy confidence of someone who'd handled much worse. Don't, Ben said quietly. You don't want to do that. Robert moved past them to Justin, checking him over. You good? Justin nodded, throat too tight for words. Diego placed a manila folder on the kitchen table. It landed with a soft thump that sounded like thunder. Open it, he told Dale. Dale's bravado flickered. His hands shook as he picked up the folder. Inside were photographs. Justin with bruises over the past 6 months, time-stamped. Medical records from the school nurse documenting suspicious injuries. A written statement from Mrs. Peterson detailing behavioral changes. Text messages Dale had sent Jennifer, threatening and cruel. Where did you? Justin's school nurse has been documenting for months, Robert explained. She was building a case, but waiting for the right moment. Jennifer's coworkers at the hospital have noticed her injuries, too. The ones you blamed on her being clumsy. His voice remained level, almost conversational. We talked to a lot of people this weekend. Turns out, you've left quite the trail. Dale's face had gone from purple to white. You can't, we already did. Ben pulled out another document. Protective order, ready to file. We've got 3 witnesses who'll testify about what they've seen. Jennifer's lawyer, a real one, not whatever you threaten her with, is prepared to pursue full custody protection. Robert leaned against the counter. Here's how this works. You have 2 choices, and you need to make one right now. Dale looked around the room, seeing his options narrow to nothing. Choice 1. You pack your things, you leave tonight, and you never contact Jennifer or Justin again. You disappear. We'll hold on to these files, but we won't file them. You get to walk away clean. Start over somewhere else. Choice 2. We file everything tonight. Police get involved. Child Protective Services gets involved. Jennifer pursues charges for domestic violence. Yes, we've got evidence of that, too. You'll be arrested by morning, and everyone in this town will know exactly who you are. Robert's expression never changed. Your call. Dale deflated, his bravado collapsing under the weight of consequence. He looked at Justin one last time, and for a moment, something almost like regret crossed his face. But it passed. I need an hour to pack. You've got 30 minutes, Diego said, checking his watch. We'll wait. Less than half an hour later, Dale's truck pulled out of the driveway, packed with everything he owned. The bikers had stood silent watch as he loaded boxes, ensuring he took nothing that belonged to Jennifer or Justin. As the taillights disappeared, Robert called Jennifer. It's done. He's gone. Justin's safe. When Jennifer arrived home 40 minutes later, she found her son sitting at the kitchen table, surrounded by 6 bikers eating pizza they'd ordered. Her eyes went to Justin first, checking for new injuries, seeing none, then to Robert. Is he really gone? He won't be back. We made that very clear. She collapsed into a chair as tears came, relief flooding through her like a dam breaking. Pure, overwhelming relief. Ben quietly slid a box of tissues across the table. Why? She whispered. Why would you do this for us? Robert looked at Justin, then back at her. Because someone needed to. And because that kid was brave enough to ask. That night, after the bikers left, Justin lay in bed staring at the ceiling. The house felt different, lighter. The air moved through rooms that had been suffocating for years. His phone buzzed. A text from Robert. Asterisk sleep tight, kid. We're around if you need us. Asterisk that night. Justin slept through to morning. A deep, dreamless sleep he hadn't known in years. In the weeks after Dale's departure, the clubhouse became Justin's second home. He showed up most afternoons, doing homework at the bar while bikers worked on engines. His grades improved. The bruises faded. His mother smiled more. But Robert noticed something else. Nicholas had stopped bullying Justin completely. No more shoves, no insults, nothing. But the kid looked worse, quieter, withdrawn, with dark circles under his eyes that Robert recognized too well. Ben, Robert said one Thursday afternoon, that Nicholas kid, something's off. The bully. Former bully. I want to know why. Ben made some calls. By Friday, they had answers. Nicholas's mother had died years earlier. Cancer that came fast and left devastation. His father, Tom Bradford, that polished lawyer, had been drowning in grief ever since. Drinking became the only way he could function. Nicholas raised himself while his father worked 16-hour days or sat in his study with bourbon. The kid's acting out because he's alone, Ben reported. Dad's physically there, but emotionally gone. Robert drummed his fingers on the table. So, Nicholas becomes the bully because he's getting bullied at home, not with fists, but with absence. Then, we fix it. Tommy looked up from his bike. The kid tortured Justin for months. And Justin had Dale. Nicholas has a ghost wearing his father's face. Robert stood. We break cycles. That's what we do. The next morning, Robert and Ben showed up at Tom Bradford's office unannounced. Tom looked up from his desk, irritation flashing across his face. Your son is drowning, Robert said simply. And you're too drunk to notice. My son is fine. When's the last time you had dinner with him? Sober. Robert waited. Tom's silence answered. When's the last time you asked about his day? Looked at him without seeing your dead wife. You need to leave. We know about the drinking, Tom. We're not here to judge. We're here because we've been you. Lost. That feels like drowning. Ben's voice was gentle. Pain's so big you need to numb it just to survive. Tom's legs seemed to give out. He sat back down heavily. I don't know how to be a father without her. Robert pulled up a chair. My daughter was 7 when her mother left. I was patched into the club, drowning in bottles, just like you. One night, I came home and found her making dinner. A 7-year-old trying to feed herself because I was too wasted. His voice roughened. That was my rock bottom. It's not too late for you. Ben slid a business card across the desk. Veterans Support Group meets Tuesday and Thursday nights. You served, right? Tom nodded, surprised they knew. So did half of us. These guys get it. Ben leaned forward. Your son needs his father back. The real one. Tom's hand shook as he picked up the card. And if I try, we'll help Nicholas, too. Youth mentorship program we run, Robert stood. But this only works if you both want it. Days later, Tom attended his first meeting. He broke down twice, nearly left 3 times. But Robert sat beside him the entire 2 hours. Nicholas was harder to reach. When Diego approached him after school, the kid's defenses shot up. I'm not going to some stupid program. 12 kids your age, working on motorcycles, learning carpentry, talking about real stuff. Diego crossed his arms. Justin goes. That stopped Nicholas cold. Justin's in it once a week. He's been building a bookshelf. Nicholas looked away, jaw working. I was horrible to him. Yeah, you were. Ask him yourself why he'd want you there. The confrontation happened at the clubhouse the following Saturday. Justin was sanding wood when Nicholas walked in, escorted by Diego. The room went quiet. Justin stood slowly. They stared at each other across the workshop. I'm sorry, Nicholas's voice cracked. For everything. The things I said about your dad, the locker stuff, the dog tags. I was angry at my own life and took it out on you. Justin studied him for a long moment. He'd learned something from Robert. Carrying hate was heavier than letting it go. Your mom died, right? Nicholas nodded. That sucks. My dad died, too. Justin set down the sandpaper. You want to help me finish this bookshelf? I'm terrible at corners. Nicholas's eyes widened. Serious? Robert says, we're better at building things than breaking them. Might as well start now. The years unfolded one day at a time. Justin grew taller. His confidence solidified. Nicholas became his unlikely friend, both fixtures at the clubhouse. Tom Bradford got sober and started coaching Little League. Jennifer Miller finished her nursing degree. Graduation day arrived with perfect sunshine. Justin stood at the podium in his cap and gown. In the third row sat his mother, beaming. Behind her, 32 bikers in leather vests stood against the back wall. Everyone talks about family like it's just biology, Justin began. But I learned something different. Family is the people who show up when your world falls apart. His eyes found Robert. Family is a group of bikers who answered a desperate kid's question and stayed long after they had to. They taught me that strength isn't about intimidation. It's about protection. That real men build others up instead of tearing them down. Nicholas, sitting with his father, wiped his eyes. Tom Bradford, sober for 5 years now, squeezed his son's shoulder. They'd driven to the ceremony together, windows down, talking about college plans, small things, the kind of conversation he'd thought he'd lost forever. So to everyone here, Justin continued, find your people. Be someone's people. Show up, stay. That's what matters. After the ceremony, Robert handed Justin a folded leather vest. The patch on the back read, Honorary Brother, Forever Family. You earned this, Robert said. Justin pulled it on, and the bikers erupted in cheers, every single one of them. His mother hugged him tight, whispering, "Your father would be so proud." "Which one?" Justin asked, grinning through tears. She laughed. "All of them." Justin found family where he least expected it. And those bikers proved that real strength is knowing when to protect, not hurt. What would you do if a child asked for your help? Share your thoughts below. And if this story moved you, hit that subscribe button because at Storysphere, we believe everyone deserves someone who shows up. See you in the next story. Outro music fades in. This voiceover script is ready for delivery, with commas, pauses, and emphasis to guide the speaker. The hooks are designed to pull the audience in at the start and keep them engaged mid-story, while the channel name Storysphere is seamlessly integrated. Let me know if you need further tweaks or formatting adjustments.